Hey, this is Brian Kurtz coming back at you with a special edition of our short refinance bootcamp where we talk about exactly how you can use this process to avoid foreclosure, to be able to write down the principal balance of your mortgage and stay in your home. It's like the holy grail of people that are in desperate situations right now. And today, as promised, we're going to be talking about the paperwork that is involved with this particular process. Now, if you remember, and you've been sticking with me and watching the different episodes of this, a short refinance is nothing more than a short sale with a twist. So short refinance package and a short sale package, all the same thing. They pretty much look exactly the same. When you submit the initial offer, you have an extra step in a short refinance, and that most likely your super low initial offer is going to get rejected, and so you're going to have to come back with a second mini package that has a refinance figure, HUD statement, things like that, but we're not going to talk about that. Right now we're going to talk about the initial package, which is very, very important. In fact, your package, which you submit to the lender, or if you have more than one mortgage lenders, is going to be the most important thing that you actually have control of in the short refinance process. Okay, the complete absolute most important thing is the value check. That's where your bank sends somebody out, either an appraiser or a real estate agent, to verify the value, check the value of the property, and give the bank an estimate of the value. The number that guy comes back with is actually the number one absolute most important thing in the entire process, bar none. But you got you have, like I said, no control over that. However, this submitting your application request, you do have control over. And I'm constantly amazed that I talk with all kinds of people that have to do some types of this negotiation, whether they call themselves loss mitigators, they call themselves bank negotiators, realtors negotiating short sales. They're always getting upset and confused and wondering why, their stuff just seems to die on the vine. They have problems with it. Stuff's not getting done properly. They submit stuff and then nothing happens. They call back a week later and they're like, oh, we were missing this, and you didn't call me to tell me. Oh, well, yeah, we did, or whatever. We called the homeowner. And you've been sitting there 2 weeks waiting, and they've been missing one piece of paper, and they're not moving forward till you have it. Okay, so let me explain this to you. Preparation of this particular application package, whether you're doing a short sale or a short refinance, the same thing, like we said, is absolutely crucial. You need to stand out from the crowd, and let me explain exactly what's going on the other end at the bank, okay? So you have these bank negotiators. So you got senior negotiators and junior negotiators. Junior negotiators usually gather all the paperwork together and then pass finalized files on to senior negotiators for final approval. It has to be signed off by a manager, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter, but these people are overrun, okay? Foreclosures are up, 3, 4, 5 times what they normally are. Certain areas, you got 10 times the foreclosure rate because nobody ever went foreclosure. Now bunches of people are going into foreclosure. So these departments are completely overrun. It's like the end scene of the Alamo. And not only that, but the banks, if you have watched the news, are taking huge, huge losses, and so they've been cutting back staff. So for a while there, probably the majority of 06 and 07, really in 07, they started cutting staff back, which is the wrong thing to do. They've taken people out of the processing departments, and so now you got half the people doing 4 to 5 times the amount of work. Not a good scenario to be in, okay? Which means that you have people that have like 300 files stacked up on their desk, and you're trying to get your negotiator to move you to the top of the stack while they are obviously reviewing the files, processing the files, sending emails back and forth, answering questions, taking phone calls from people saying, where are we in the process? And I mean, I'm telling you, I do this each and every day on my end, and I know I'm not as overloaded as they are, and my day goes by like that. I mean, I get in here at 8:30 in the morning, and it is 5 o'clock before I blink. And I'm sure it's exactly the same way for those people over there. So what you need to do is find a way to get to the top of the pile. You need to be what we call the cream rising to the top. And the way to do that is simply to make sure your package is outstanding when you submit it. Once you submit it, if it's well organized and looks professional, and especially if everything they need is there, then your file gets priority treatment. Well, why is that? Why is that? Shouldn't everybody just be, take their number in line just like at the grocery counter? Yeah, right. Here's the fact of the matter. These people have quotas. They have to get so many done each and every by the end of the month, or they get in trouble. So they're naturally going to gravitate towards grabbing the files that are going to be the easiest to get through and closed. So if you're missing 2 or 3 things and they have to make a phone call and say, I need you to fax this to me, then you got to wait for it to be faxed and added to the package and then get your file opened again. That is causing you to be a non-priority, because that means they have to take extra steps to make your file work, whereas they may be able to just reach over to the other side of their desk and grab another file that they don't have to take steps on. So why not focus on the ones right now, here and now at 12:30 on Friday, on the ones that we can actually have more of a chance to get done and meet for our quota. That is their mentality. I'm sorry to say, that is going to be the way it is. So, rule number 1. Always, always, always submit a complete package, 100% complete every time. Even if you call the bank and they say, well, send in your financial data, which is your bank statements and your pay stubs and stuff first, and then when you get an offer, send the rest in. Don't do that. That's a bunch of BS, okay? You want the whole thing all together at one time, in one place, so they have one file that gets scanned in and they can flick through it on their little computer screen and find everything that they need. And then if they have some super secret weirdo jump through the hoops requirements that they need extra things, then they'll call you and ask you to send it over. But most of the time, you shouldn't need to do that. You should know exactly what they need. And this is the package. Let's talk about the details on this, all right, in the next 2 minutes. See if we can go through that. All right, here you have fax cover sheet. Now, you can't really see too much on here. It doesn't really matter. The little detail is that it says, here's the department, loss mitigation at this particular bank, and here's who it's from. Here is the loan number. Loan number needs to be on every page on this stuff, guys. Every single page. Not one should be left out. That's really easy to do. And then just an overview of what's going on here. Here's a nice little detail. Check this out. See that? HSBC. Go to Google, click on images for images search, and then search for your bank, whatever bank you're submitting a package to. Grab their logo. So if you're looking for, I don't know, Citibank, you type in Citibank logo, grab the picture, copy it, and paste it to your cover sheet before you send it over. Why? Because that'll cause them to be kind of like tricked into thinking this is an internal correspondence, which often helps you to be able to get moved to the top of the pile. All right, next thing we have here, table of contents with a loan number. All right, so it talks about all the stuff that's on here in nice, easy to understand verbiage. Page 1, hardship letter. Page 2, listing agreement. Pages 3 to 6, purchase agreement. Page 7, pre-approval letter. Page 8 to 9, estimated HUD-1 settlement statement. Pages 10, financial statements. Page 11 to 14, recent income stubs, that's your pay stubs. And then page 15 to 18, recent bank statements. Pages 19 to 24, recent federal income tax returns. And then page 25 or 26, 27, all the little details, things like if you have a divorce decree, death certificate, something like that, that goes in there. Now, notice, you got your hardship letter first right here. Good example of a hardship letter. You want to have it signed. Usually try to get it signed with like a felt tip marker, a flare marker. It makes it look real nice. So people know you're not faking a signature. A listing agreement, most of the banks require a listing agreement. Whether or not you actually put it on the market doesn't matter. They want to see that some type of listing agreement between you and a realtor has come about. Then the offer, obviously the purchase agreement, whether it's a standard purchase agreement or a standard option contract signed with purchase agreement. A pre-approval letter would be next. And then here's a really important one, which is the HUD statement. This is the statement that shows the breakdown of all the numbers, where everything's going, and most importantly, all they care about is this number right here, how much they're walking away with. Okay? So, HUD-1 settlement statement, you're going to need one of those in there. Financial statement, these come in many different shapes and sizes. This is the standard Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac one. Some banks, in fact most banks, have their own special one. The financial statement is nothing more than a statement showing money coming in, money going out, debt, and things like that. It's just like a budget form. Then next you got pay stubs, 2 months pay stubs, 2 months bank statements, and 2 years tax returns. Okay, now you might have noticed on each and every single one of these pages, we have the page number and the loan number stamped on here. Make sure you do that so that they can go ahead and make sure that nothing gets lost. That is the proper way to create a package. Put it together, make sure it looks sharp, that it's like wow, and that everything is there. It'll make your process go way, way smoother. Once again, if you're watching this on any other site but my main site, shortsaleshow.com, make sure you go there, sign up for priority email updates in the top left of the screen, and we'll make sure you get notified whenever new episodes are made available. Thanks for watching us on the Short Sales Show.